Meta's AI NPCs are on the way. Meanwhile, Samsung's mixed reality headset, Project Moohan, could debut as soon as September this year. No Man's Sky has just received a massive update with particular enhancements for PSVR 2 players. All that and more coming up in this episode of the Virtual Lowdown. What is going on, virtual friends, and welcome to the Virtual Lowdown, the show where I bring you the latest and most exciting news going on in the VR world. Let's kick things off with story number 1. So Meta's Horizon Worlds is going to be getting AI NPCs, which will be powered by Meta's Llama AI. These NPCs are supposed to be fully embodied characters with their own unique personalities, and it's going to be a mix of AI responses and pre-scripted, kind of pre-rehearsed responses, and this will enable the AI NPCs to dynamically react to the player's actions and what they say. It also looks like people will be able to create your own kind of custom AI NPC characters, and there'll be a library of different AI voices that you can choose from, as well as, your usual kind of character customization options. This will enable you to kind of give more of a personality to your AI NPCs. You can give them a name and like a full-on backstory, as well as, I guess, like their talking style. So I guess that means like, are they going to be aggressive? Are they grumpy? Are they happy? Are they cheery? That kind of thing. So as you can imagine, this will open up quite a lot of opportunities for different kind of AI NPC character types. For example, you could have a shopkeeper that instead of just kind of repeating the same lines, you can actually have a conversation with them and like ask them about different products in their shop, and you can actually get like a reasonable response from them. You could also have NPCs that could act as tour guides, showing you around various Horizon worlds, and that could be close to becoming a reality, which is something I'm very excited for. However, it's just a shame that it's coming to Horizon Worlds of all places. Like, I never felt like Horizon Worlds was missing NPCs. I don't think that's the problem they're having. I feel like the problem that they're having is a lack of a user base, and while NPCs powered by AI might draw in a few more players, I really don't think that's the solution. What might be a better option is, I don't know, maybe being able to separate kids and adult players, because by far one of the biggest complaints I get from people who don't use Horizon Worlds is that as soon as you enter, you're just surrounded by screaming kids, and in my experience at least, that's not far from the truth. But at the end of the day, Horizon Worlds is supposed to be a social app, right? I feel like it's not really the same if you're socializing with AI-powered NPCs versus real people, so there's that. But look, I'm really excited that the technology is coming, and I am just more excited, I guess, to see it implemented in other games where NPCs make a little bit more sense. But that's just me. What do you guys think about AI-powered NPCs in Horizon Worlds, or just in general? Let me know down in the comments. But if that wasn't enough, your Quest home is about to get a full makeover. With Meta's upcoming v81 update, the legacy homes are going to be completely removed and replaced with the next generation of virtual homes, which will feature highly improved assets, dynamic lighting, and just overall improvements to the environment's interactability and function. So let's run through all of the expected features, but just be aware that this is currently just leaks from the public test channel, so it could still change upon release, but it's likely that this is what we can expect. So at the moment, we've seen 4 different scenery backdrops demoed, and those are the Horizon Central, which is just the standard kind of backdrop, your Midnight backdrop, a valley scene, and the Oceanarium. So these look quite familiar to the legacy home environments that we have at the moment, but as you can see, they are highly improved in basically every regard, and you don't need to completely change your home environment. You notice that the actual home itself remains the same. It's just the backdrop and the scenery around the home that changes, which I think leads to a much more seamless experience, and it just means you won't have to keep rearranging the layout of your home environment. You instead can just keep everything where it is and change the background. So one of the first things that I noticed is that you now have complete freedom of movement within your home environment. No more invisible walls or only teleporting to specific preset locations. You can choose to either continue to teleport to any location in your house, or you can smooth slide, which is basically just like walking, and again, you can use that to access anywhere in your home environment, which I think is a big improvement, because the invisible walls and restrictions, it were just kind of slightly annoying and made me want to use use the previous home environments less when you see somewhere that looks nice but you can't actually access it. It also looks like you can teleport into seated positions now, which again is great because previously you could teleport to where a chair was but you couldn't actually sit on it. Meta will be introducing system-level locomotion options, so basically the ability to go into your settings and choose the movement type that you want, and that will carry over from your home environment into your Horizon worlds. Now, it's not confirmed whether other apps will be able to use this as well. It's unlikely, but if this is something they can pull off later down the line, I think this will be actually really massive because comfort is a huge issue in a lot of games, and if you were able to kind of just from the home settings of your device set your locomotion to teleport in any game that you're in, I think that could open up a lot of games to people that are maybe a bit more prone to motion sickness. But now for something a little bit more exciting, persistent windows in your VR home is going to be essentially, like, I guess, a warm-up to the augments that we never really received. Hopefully, still fingers crossed we're going to get them at some point, but I think Meta is really kind of reworking that from the ground up, and this seems to be the first little taste at augments that we'll be getting. Persistent windows enable us to pin 2D windows up against any wall or surface in your virtual home environment, and you know it's actually optimized to fit into your home environment, so it's not going to be clipping through walls or looking odd. As you can see in this example, it looks really good, it looks well implemented. You can pin up to 3 different 2D windows around your home environment, and they will persist across app launches and reboots. So if you play a game and then come out of it back into your home environment, all of your pinned 2D windows will still be where you left them. It would be really annoying if you had to keep repinning them every single time, and it would make them kind of pointless, but glad to know that even after restarting your headset, your pinned 2D windows should remain in the right place. Again, kind of teasing at the idea of these augments coming soon, we have a new home object, which is the Instagram window, and this is going to join the likes of the avatar window, the avatar mirror, and the Horizon Central portal that we currently have. You can now have an Instagram window that you can pin as a 2D frame, and this will allow you to basically view Instagram photos. You can interact with them, like them, swipe across, and do all your usual Instagram things from within your VR home. But we're not done yet. You can also pin up to 3 2D windows in your pass-through environment, which is awesome news for those of you like myself that only use the pass-through environment. Like, since I've got my Quest 3, I don't think I've ever used my virtual home environment. There's just something about being in your real-world environment and having like your virtual overlays floating there. For me, that's the only way to go. Curious to see if this new update will change my mind about that, but let me know down in the comments if you're one of those people that like only uses the pass-through environment, or do you still enjoy your home environment? Very curious to know how many of you are in the same boat as me. But just like in your virtual home environment, your 2D windows will persist in the real world space that you pin them in, and again, they'll remain there through app launches and headset reboots. So it's not quite the augments that we were promised, but I definitely think this is kind of step 1 to getting there, and hopefully it means that they're getting a little bit closer to the full implementation of augments, which I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for. Also worth noting is that it seems like in this new update, the new Navigator UI, which by the way I still haven't received, is going to be an optional choice now. So you can go into settings and choose whether you want the new Navigator or if you want to stick with the old universal menu. And it looks like the old universal menu is going to be the default for most people, with only a few people getting the Navigator UI option. I'm still pretty gutted that I've never even had the chance to try the new Navigator UI, and now they seemingly are rolling it back a little bit, but I guess it just means they have a little bit more work until they're happy with it. Next up, Samsung's mixed reality headset Project Moohan could be just weeks away. So reports from Newsworks, a Korean site, say that Samsung's new headset could be debuting in their Unpacked event coming on September 29th, which is just a few weeks away. And while we don't have any confirmation of specs or pricing or exact release dates just yet, we do have some leaks and I guess speculation around this headset. So it's estimated to cost between $1,800 and $2,900 US. So it's definitely more of a prosumer headset. Like, at that price point, it is not cheap. However, it is supposed to be a competitor to Apple's Vision Pro, which is still priced at $3,500 US. So Samsung Samsung's headset will certainly be cheaper than that, but the question is, how does it compare in terms of, you know, performance and quality, and is it going to be worth saving the extra money, or are you better off spending the extra cash and getting a Vision Pro if you're going to spend that kind of money on a VR headset anyway? So Project Moohan will be the first MR headset to run on Google's new Android XR platform. We've seen kind of teasers of this OS in certain videos on YouTube, but really curious to see how it shapes up compared to Apple's Vision OS. Like I said, we don't have any confirmed details, but the specs that we can expect at the moment are Qualcomm's Snapdragon XR2 Plus Gen 2, Sony's micro OLED panels, we don't know the specific resolution just yet, pancake lenses, which I am very grateful to hear, because if they were Fresnel lenses, that's an immediate fail in my opinion, automatic IPD adjustment, eye and hand tracking, as well as VR motion controllers, which we've not seen yet, but the fact that they'll include these controllers out of the box is already, in my opinion, a little improvement over Apple's offering, which didn't have any controllers and is going to be relying on third-party controllers coming out a little bit later. We're expecting Samsung to ship about 100,000 units of this, so it's definitely not going to be like the mainstream market headset like the Quest is. However, it's kind of, I see it at least as them dipping their toes into the XR space, seeing how consumers react, and like I said earlier, it's pretty much a direct competitor to the Apple's Vision Pro, so it's not really seeking to compete with mainstream headsets like the ones produced by Meta. So I'm curious, say this headset had all of the features and functionality of the Apple Vision Pro, and it came in at the low end of the price point at like $1,800. Would you guys consider picking one up, or would you still hold off for another headset? Is $1,800 still too much for you guys to be spending in VR? For me, I don't have that kind of budget for VR at the moment, so it's a no-go for me. But curious what you guys in the comments think. And for our next story, the popular flat screen and VR game No Man's Sky has just received a massive update, going full multi-crew, enabling you to step into massive Corvette ships that you can build and customize along with friends. So the new Voyages update introduces Corvettes, which are basically these massive multiplayer ships that you can build and customize and fly along with crews of your friends. Very similar to like the multi-crew ships that you would see in Star Wars or Star Trek. Now, as I said, you can fully customize and build out these ships with hulls, wings, landing gear, cockpits, engine parts, thrusters, and in the interiors you can have med bays, sleeping quarters, war rooms, radars, teleporters, and much more. Now, Corvettes won't be available immediately to new players. It is something that you will unlock a bit later down the game. If you're already a veteran player, then it should be very easy for you to unlock these. But they did say, Hello Games did say that they want to give everyone a little taste of Corvettes and these multi-crew ships. So there is a new expedition that any player can jump into, and that will allow you to fly your own Corvette. So this is awesome news for No Man's Sky players, including myself. I just kind of wish I had friends to build a cruise ship with. But if you do have friends and you play No Man's Sky, this is massive. I think this is kind of a bit of a fantasy for a lot of people who have been fans of like Star Wars or Star Trek for a long time. Like it's awesome being able to navigate space on your own terms, but being able to do that together with a whole crew of your friends on one massive ship, I think this is just going to be, again, game changing, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very happy with this update. Even if you don't have any friends to fly big ships through space with, though, if you are a PSVR 2 player and you play No Man's Sky, then there has been significant updates for you as well. With PSSR, which is PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, you'll now get significantly sharper visuals without, hopefully, any loss of performance in your PSVR 2. This is awesome news for No Man's Sky, and if you haven't yet played it and you have a PC or a PSVR 2 that is capable of running No Man's Sky, because it is very hardware intensive, but if you can run it, then I highly recommend you check it out. It's one of those games that, for me anyway, it inspired me to build my new PC here so that I could actually run it in like with decent frames and decent graphics, but it's hard to put it into words. It doesn't do it justice looking at the flat screen. I really feel like if you're going to play this game and get the most out of it, VR is the way to go, if of course your hardware is capable. Next up, the popular VR social game Rec Room has laid off more than 50% of its employees, leaving only around 100 employees left. So why the massive layoffs? Well, it's mostly due to financial reasons, as is usually the case in these kind of instances. But for Rec Room, the devs have said that the flood of low-quality content largely contributed to these layoffs. So the devs really wanted to push for like a universal platform to create user-generated content on, something that would work across PC as well as mobile and consoles. The issue with that, however, is that this led to a massive influx of really low quality user-generated content, mostly coming from the mobile platforms. So this places quite a strain on the team because they have to review all of that content, and that takes time and manpower to do. And not only are they spending, time and effort to review this content, but that isn't even making them any money because, like I said, this is all mostly really poor quality content that people aren't spending time in and they're not spending money in. So essentially the team found themselves stretched very thin, having to review a ton of content that was essentially very low value for the platform. So essentially what the devs have said is that they're not abandoning user-generated content, but they're just having to make a lot of cutbacks, and unfortunately that starts with the staff. But later down the line, they're going to be focusing more on PC-generated content, and basically you're going to be seeing less content coming out, but it's going to be better quality. So they're going to be focusing all of their efforts on creating tools for creators that are creating content that people actually want to spend time in, and content that's actually generating revenue. Now, while that does totally make sense to me, at least, it's just a shame that people had to lose their jobs over this. Heart goes out to you guys. Like, losing your job kind of sucks, especially if you really enjoyed working there. So, sorry to hear that, and hopefully the situation gets better for Rec Room later down the line, because I know it's a very popular app and a lot of people enjoy using it. It would be a shame to see it kind of just cease to exist. And finally, if you missed the Secret Vault sale that ended last week, Meta is currently offering 30% off up to 500 different games on the store using the code TAKE30. So if you're kind of sad that you missed out on the sale last week, at least you can still save 30% off, like 500 games. That's a lot of games. I'm not going to list them all here, but you can go through the store and see which ones are included in the offer. And that is going to be it for today's video. If you're still watching this far, then huge shout out to you. You're a real one. Thank you for sticking around. And leave me a like while you're here. You might as well. Every little bit of support from you guys really helps out this channel. I'm still really trying to push to get to 2,000 subscribers. It doesn't seem like a lot, I know, but for me, I've never had that many subscribers on a channel before, so it would be a huge help if you guys subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and of course, if you enjoy my content. But other than that, I do have a question for you guys. If you could choose any game in VR to add AI NPCs to, what would it be? Don't say Horizon Worlds, because I know you're lying. But if there's any other game that you could have like full-on AI-powered NPCs that you could have conversations with, what game would you add them to? And maybe tell me why. Let me know down in the comments. For me, it would probably be like a sandbox type game, something like Bone Lab, because that is, where I spend most of my time in VR in. But something where you can put the NPCs in like a massive range of different situations, because I think it would just be funny to see like their reactions to a bunch of different situations. But anyways, that's just me. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.